miles off the coast of Delmarva, you'll find two islands where life runs a little differently than it does on the mainland.
The islanders live their life around the water, and the main form of transportation is golf carts. Of course, the people living there wouldn't want it any other way. Despite the name, Smith Island actually has three sections, as you can see here from Chopper 16. The island's about a 45-minute boat ride from Crisfield.
And if you gaze out from the dock in Crisfield, you can catch a glimpse of the water tower on Tangier Island in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay. Now, the small island is one of the most isolated but closely knit places in the U.S. It's also in danger of disappearing in 50 to 100 years.
Well, disappearing islands are nothing new on Delmarva. There is a piece of land in the Chesapeake Bay that's been fighting with the water that surrounds it for centuries.
Holland Island was once home to more than 300 people. Now, there are barely signs of life. Joining us now to talk more about Holland Island is WBOC's Bill Mich. Bill, thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
But before we get to all that, we have to say congratulations.
Thank you.
You just got married like Saturday, right?
Halloween. We got married on Halloween.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a great time.
Yeah?
She's way too good for me, and my hand's a little heavier now. But other than that, everything's the same.
There's the beautiful bride.
Oh my goodness.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so we mentioned Holland Island is losing its fight with the water. What exactly is going on?
It's essentially eroding away. So years ago, when people lived on the island, it was dozens and dozens and dozens of acres. It was huge. It was a big, long, skinny island. We were there a couple weeks ago, and there's next to nothing. You can see from one side of the island to the other, and it's actually been broken up by the water into two separate pieces. So there's one big piece, quote unquote big, and one little smaller piece that's kind of home to birds, but it's just washing away.
Now, I understand there were some attempts to slow down the process.
Yeah, there was a gentleman, Mr. Stephen White. He actually owned the island a couple years ago, and he did everything he can to not only save the island from washing away, but there was one home left on that island from when people lived there in the early 1900s. He got sick. He lost his battle with Mother Nature. That home fell down, and the island continues to wash away.
So that was his equipment we were seeing rusted in the
Yes,
water?
he brought that equipment out there to try to save the island, save the home, and it got left there. So there's a little backhoe that sits on that bird island, and there's the arm of an excavator that sticks out of the water. Wow. It's a pretty cool sight to see, actually.
That? Okay, so while the Chesapeake Bay continues to win its battle, are there still efforts going on trying to maintain the history?
Well, I actually went to the Dorchester County Historical Society. They were a huge help with this story. They have tons of pictures and tons of stories. But right now, that's pretty much all that's left because the island's going away and there's not too many signs of life left on that island. Obviously, you can see some of these pictures which they provided to me.
Wow.
Actually, you mentioned the houses. There are still some houses from Holland Island on Delmarva. When people had to move, they took their houses down, put them on a barge, brought them over here, built them back up.
Okay, so many people who once lived on Holland Island, though, didn't expect it to eventually disappear. So they have loved ones buried there, don't they?
They do. There's actually two separate grave sites there. But you're going to have to watch the story to find out whether or not those grave sites can be saved. They're going to get you to watch somehow.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I think you've got us hooked for that. Yes, absolutely. Bill, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Look forward to
Appreciate
this.
it.
We're excited to watch your 3-day series on Holland Island, Sinking Sands. That's on WBOC News at 6 beginning on Tuesday. Well, what if it was your pet that disappeared? Well, one family that gave up their search for their lost cat now has a reason to celebrate. How they were reunited with Ralph 14 years later.
And maybe you want to welcome a cat or a dog into your home. We have quite the few furry friends for you all ready to be adopted in today's Pet Connects. We're going to meet a few of them who want to become a part of your family. Delmarva Live. We'll be right back.